We got a bidet! Hey everybody, and welcome back from the video. We are here to talk to you about the latest episode of Ahsoka, and I bet we can both just say, like, wow, holy moly, did that episode really play out very well. It was a very, very good episode. We're gonna break things down piece by piece here and give some thoughts along the way, and then hopefully you all will go out and watch this exciting episode. We do get a pretty big cliffhanger, and we will get there as well. But this episode does pick up right from the previous one. You know, Ahsoka and Sabine and Huyang are landed on the planet, and they're trying to fix everything and contact Hera. Huyang, you know, is outside messing with things, trying to get things fixed. And we also have that cliffhanger from Balin where he tells, you know, his droid people to go and hunt down the Jedi in the forest, being Ahsoka and then her friend Sabine. So we do get to see a very cool, like, stalkerish shot of the droids that are watching them. I don't know about you. I thought they were there's the part where Huyang is working on things and he was like, finally it's done. I thought something was gonna like shoot it and then it'd be like, oh man, you know, just kind of like a little bit of Star Wars humor there.
Yeah, the whole build up to everything with that's the whole scene was just beautifully done. Um yeah, like uh they can't get a signal out for help. They're struggling. Liang's trying to fix the ship outside. Ahsoka tells him, "Hey, be careful out there. Like, look, like, keep an eye out, you know." And so obviously something bad's about to happen. Like you said, they're stalking him from the forest, and then they run up on him, and they just attack Hu Yang out of nowhere, blindside him.
Yeah, and we actually get to see like a droid fight. I mean, there's a lot of fights in this episode, but you know, Huyang gets his little piece there too to show off a little bit of his skill.
I absolutely died when he used the little T Rex arms. That was so funny.
Yeah, it was pretty great. He's like also trying to call for help, and like the droid's like covering his mouth and stuff.
Yeah, that was so messed up.
Yeah,
But yeah, he does something really smart. He reaches up and pulls the wire on the ship, which shuts down the power again. So it sends a signal to his comrades inside.
yeah, so they can come out and uh, see what's up because like Sabine's like, "What in the world?" and Ahsoka's like, "No, that actually means something."
Yeah, they catch on right away. They know. They
Yeah,
know.
and the thing that made me excited about this next scene, like, so Ahsoka ignites her lightsabers and she runs out, but kind of before this, Sabine was like going through her own stuff, so we can see that she brought like tons of Mandalorian weapons.
Yeah, she's
And she
geared
like,
up.
yeah, she suits up. Like we remember her from Rebels, and so it was really cool to see her come out and actually probably do what we were expecting her to be doing, not like the full-on Jedi thing this entire time.
Right. Something she's not very good at versus something she is very good at.
Yeah. And
So
so we get that little fight there with Ahsoka and Sabine versus uh, the droids from Balin. Uh, I don't remember when this scene exactly lines up in the episode, but at one point we do get a little bit of a cut break. I think it's once Ahsoka and Sabine run into the forest, and I had thought something would be up here too because Huyang like deliberately tells them, you know, stay together. That's how you're strong. Don't split.
yeah,
And then later on, they end up splitting. Uh, but I believe it's right here when they run out into the forest is when they cut back to Hera. Um, and we get to find out that Hera is actually like slightly disobeying orders by leaving her fleet. Her and a handful of other X-Wing pilots are actually gonna go and try to investigate what's going on with Ahsoka and Sabine themselves. We do get not only Hera and Jason in the Ghost, but we also get, I don't remember his name, but it's that like
It's
high
like
rep.
Carson Santiva or something.
Yeah, the dude that's in
Something like that.
charge. Yeah,
Paul Sung Hyun Lee. This is the actor. I don't know. I know
yeah,
who you talked about. Yeah, he's like the guy we keep seeing in Mandalorian.
right. He's kind of like that New Republic representative officer dude that happens to be popping up in all the new shows.
And he's got a good moral compass.
Right. So yeah, that group is going to be heading towards Ahsoka and Sabine. So they, punch it into hyperspace and they are heading that way. So then we cut back to our main focus of the episode being Ahsoka and Sabine. And basically, Balin is going to send out um, Shin and Marok to go and find these two so that they can clash together. And we get two separate fights, right? So they meet up. And I thought this was really cool about Shin. Like, I really liked her character, but it's adding more. She's almost like a very, almost like a horror movie type character. Like, just the way she stares, it's kind of like, what is she going to do next? She kind of reminds me of like a creepy porcelain doll, how she just stares and has sudden movements.
She's a little spooky, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And her immediate thing to do, because I was kind of wondering why she did this, but a Sabine pulls out her guns and like shoots at Shin, and Shin just deflects and runs. Like she doesn't actually pursue Sabine. And I was kind of wondering if she did this so she could purposely split them.
Yeah, I'm not sure what her tactics were there. Maybe just thought she could get a better advantage as I don't know, somewhere else. But um, I mean, it ends up working out for her, right?
Yeah, I kind of wondered if this was like that foreshadow from Hu Yang of stay together. And
Right. Yeah, they do like immediately split up a little bit.
right. And so Ahsoka is facing off with Marok, and then Sabine is facing off with Shin. Sabine does start off with her Mandalorian weapons for a little while, but they do end up breaking out into a little bit of a lightsaber fight. So
Not
we should,
before Sabine gets smacked into a tree with the Force.
yeah, and gets her helmet knocked off.
Yeah, gotta show off that haircut.
Yeah. Got to see the face of what I'm about to kill, maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe we
Well,
should break
and
down.
um, they do like a cool sweeping shot on the helmet on the ground, and then right after it, Shin gets like a cheap shot, stun, kind of like gets like a headshot, kind of punch to Sabine to the dome. So it's kind of like if she had that helmet on, she wouldn't have that weakness.
Right.
Uh, but she held her own. Sabine's been um, you know, she was ready this time, I guess.
Yeah, a little more prepared because she did get a little bit more training, not a whole lot, but she got some
Yeah.
between the two fights. Thinking about their fight, Shin and Sabine's, uh, I thought, I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like this show's lightsaber battles are above and beyond what they've been doing as of late. They're very exciting.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
look fluid.
The fluidity, the choreography, it's really good. There's like a lot of intention behind like all the striking and all the like they're making I don't know, like we'll get to it later, but even the fight with Balin and Ahsoka, like neither of them really wants to make the first move because they know that that's gonna like open them up. That's gonna be the first opening for the other person to, you know, counter you, and so
Right. Yeah. And we get the little bit of a lightsaber fight with Sabine and Shin. Shin does eventually disarm Sabine from her lightsaber. And This is a question I had for you of what your interpretation was, because when Sabine is on the ground, she like puts her hand out as if she's gonna try to do a force push.
Yeah,
Do you think that she actually nudged her a little bit, or do you think um, Shin was like flinching and then noticed that nothing really happened? Because I was thinking she flinched and then was just like, oh, okay, she has no power.
she was waiting for it. She was ready to be like, knocked backwards. Shin was ready, but then nothing happened. So she was like, "You're just pretending. You're
Yeah, that's kind of what my interpretation was too, is that it was just Shin moving. It wasn't actually Sabine pushing her.
Yeah, yeah." She was just like kind of bracing herself for it. Yeah. Um, Once again, Sabine's not doing too high with the force. Strike two. First the cup. Now this. She maybe it would have been easier to try and get the lightsaber pull rather than get the force push. I think those are different skill levels, but baby
Yeah,
steps, Sabine. You got this. I believe.
yeah, the lightsaber is smaller too.
I believe.
I don't know if I believe, but
Oh, I didn't mention this earlier, but my heart was like skipping when Hu Yang was getting attacked. Like I love this guy. Like if this droid, something happens to him, I'm gonna be so sad. Like when they covered his mouth, I was like, no, Hu Yang,
don't kill him off.
too soon.
So eventually, it seems like Shin is going to take out Sabine. Did you want to cover why she ends up stopping?
Does she stop?
What does
She
she
just stops
see?
because the other fight that's going on. We didn't really
Right.
discuss this one. So Ahsoka and Marok, they're going blow for blow. Ahsoka's not really faced by this guy, really. Um, so he decides to step it up a notch. His strikes are not working, so he puts his little lightsaber into spin helicopter mode, and then he goes to make some kind of spinning strike, and it doesn't go so well for him. Ahsoka gets him across the chest with her lightsaber, and he is donezo. Not only is he donezo, he like dusts into powder. So what's that about? Who knows? He gets like Thanos dusted after he dies.
Yeah, it reminded me of the dude from Tales of the Jedi when Ahsoka took him out, and he just like poofed into thin air.
Mm,
You remember that guy?
kind of, yeah. Maybe this is like just a dark side version of like the light, like going and being with the light force. Maybe this is just the dark version.
I do have a slight theory about it, but I'm gonna save it for a little bit later so we could talk
Sure,
about some more people.
sure. So
Um,
so Shin sees this happen. She sees him get gutted and dust, and then so she decides that maybe it's time. Oh wait, no. Then Sabine tells her that she's got it right. They keep
yeah,
fighting. Yeah, they keep fighting. Ahsoka goes to go get the map, I guess, and
yeah, they
then
separate even further.
yeah. So then that's when the force push thing happens. So that was a little bit out of order.
That's all right.
All right. Um, but anyways, Shin retreats as well. Um, man,
And Ahsoka goes to
Sabine's like
basically
short
meet
after. Yeah.
Balin. Yeah, well, she's going for the map, and Balin's the only person there. She sees a ship leave, and she's kind of like, "What in the world?" Because that I believe that was Morgan that was leaving, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
Balin stays behind to protect the map because the map is basically like making or calculating the coordinates of where they need to go. So it's
Yep.
kind of like a downloading the map, so to speak, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's gotta like read the map basically. And they're going like such a long distance that there's a lot of they got a lot of GPS turns to figure out. So
Right. And they mentioned, if one calculation is off, that basically they're screwed, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
Ahsoka does meet up with Balin, and this is, when we see in the trailer for the show and like before the show came out, this is where we see Balin and Ahsoka eventually facing off. Um, Ahsoka's there for the map. Balin is there to protect it at least until the downloading of the map is done.
yep,
And so we get that little discussion that we also hear from some of the previews where Balin's like, Anakin Skywalker was a well known person, blah, blah, blah. Um, and just basically talking to Ahsoka about um, her master's past. And what's interesting is like he's saying, he mentioned you, and she was like, well, funny, he didn't mention you. And so, like, they
yeah,
got that banter going back and forth. I thought that was kind of funny. Um, but yeah, so as she's trying to get this map, she's kind of like circling around him, and I'm thinking like he's not going to step away out of the map. You got to do something. And that's when they start to clash it out a little bit with their lightsabers. Um,
yeah. He's like a guardian. He just keeps moving, standing between Ahsoka and the map.
right. And he's got some very interesting lines in the show too. Like when he's talking, like when I think they said, "Do you have fear?" And he's like, "No, experience." I'm just like, man, this guy is
Hmm.
smart. I like it. Um,
He's crazy. He's something.
yeah. So they fight Ahsoka and Balin, and right when uh basically Balin gets Ahsoka up to the edge of the cliff, and he's pushing on her, and she's trying to push back, and Sabine shows up. During their fight, Ahsoka pulls the map off of the platform and drops it on the ground, so the downloading of the map stops.
The downloading caused it to heat up, so it singed her hand when she grabbed it.
Right. And so then they're at the edge, and Sabine picks up the map and basically is holding a blaster to it like it's hostage and saying, let her go or else I'll destroy the map, kind of a thing. And then we get this whole tension back and forth of what's going to happen. Is she going to actually shoot it? Is like Ahsoka, I think, was telling her to destroy it, right?
Yeah, they had a big talk. We kind of skipped over that part, but that was before Huyang got attacked in the beginning. Ahsoka was kind of telling her like, "Hey, more than anything in the world, I want to get Ezra back, but we cannot, under any circumstance, allow Thrawn to come back. So if it comes down to it, we got to blow up the map. We got to destroy it." Um, so that was like the conversation they had. So Ahsoka was ready to do it, but Sabine was the one in the actual position to destroy it.
Yeah. And so uh, it seems like things just take too long. Like I think Balin gets impatient and he strikes at Ahsoka and shoves her off the cliff, which we'll get to in a minute. And then he turns around and is basically trying to convince Sabine, like, hey, we're the same. That whole spiel of trying to make a connection with the people that are a little uh, over the edge, so to speak, based on tensions.
It's like, yeah, you and me, we want the same thing. The same thing.
Yeah, he wants to go to Thrawn, and guess who's with Thrawn? Ezra. So let's just work together. Um, so she does end up giving him back the map. I thought that's where the episode was going to end, is when he has his hand out and she had it like right over his hand. I was like, here's the cliffhanger, and then it kept going. I was like, yes. um, so she gives him back the map, and then Shin comes from behind Sabine and is like choking her out. But Balin promised that she wouldn't be,
Force choke, yeah.
yeah, force choking her out. Balin promised that she wouldn't be harmed, so he tells Shin to knock it off, which she does. But I think ultimately Shin really wants to kill Sabine just because she hasn't um, fully, even though she had the opportunity earlier on in the show, um, she seems to still be letting Sabine live for some odd reason. Um, yeah, so then they have to they head back up to their ship after the map downloads the rest. Um, I believe that is when Hera and the squadron show up and they, see the Eye of Sion and they're like, holy crap, what is this thing? And they're actually in the way of where this ring is going to go. Like when they actually jump the lights or, yeah, jump to light speed.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, headed straight at him.
Yeah. So I was wondering, is this going to be like a holdo thing where, these ships are so small, they're just going to just plow through them? But then I remembered it's a ring. So, like, they're not going to go head on, but they're probably going to get some sort of whiplash, so to speak, or sonic waves.
Something.
Yeah. So they actually do.
And sure enough, something happens.
Yeah. So they zip off to light speed, heading towards Thrawn, being um, Morgan, Shin, Balin, and Sabine, because they took her prisoner, basically, because she's in handcuffs. I would consider her a prisoner.
Yep, they promised not to harm her.
Right. And this light speed jump sends like a ricochet to the fighters from the New Republic, and a handful of X-wings crash and burn. Um, some of them took less damage than others. Uh, I don't think the Ghost had. I mean, they got hit by the wave, but they didn't like have any severe damage.
Yeah, their ship was kind of the biggest, so it kind of like fared the best, the shockwave. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it didn't look like all the X-wings got completely destroyed.
Yeah, I
But
think some of them.
hopefully our pilot made it out. I don't know about that alien though.
Yeah, the side characters that they had to bring along to have some sort of death.
Yeah.
um, I was I was surprised that Hera brought Jason, because he could have been harmed in that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
especially since she knows, oh, we're going to check out something that Ahsoka and Sabine need help with. If they need help, it's probably something pretty bad.
Yeah. But I mean, we haven't really seen him like grow up or anything, but something tells me like he's been running jobs with them for like years, and he's like he knows what he's doing. Like he was the one who he was co-pilot. Like I think he probably is you know, he knows the game, I think, a little
Right.
bit
Yeah.
for a child.
Yeah. You're probably right on that. As far as like the doing the different jobs, so maybe he's kind of used to seeing some of this stuff and being a part of it too. Um, but there's one last big surprise in this episode, right?
Yeah. So we find out what happened to Ahsoka. We see her get pushed off the cliff. We don't see anything after that, except after the ships fly away, we do find out. Um, we get a big view of the ocean, the cliff, no sign of Ahsoka anywhere. And then it fades out, and then you start to see Ahsoka's tendrils. I forget what they're called. Her little head side pieces that are striped. You see those a little bit, and you're like, well, that's weird. And then eventually, Ahsoka comes into frame. And where on earth is she? But she is in the world between worlds, presumably. And she hears a voice, a familiar voice. And that's Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, and we get to see, Hayden Christensen once again, back in Star Wars. And in my opinion, the de-aging was a bit better this time, compared to the Kenobi show. Almost looked a little video game-ish, but it was definitely better.
Yeah, yeah, he looked really young, like it right back to the Clone Wars days, when they would have been, side by side. So yeah, the de-aging was not too bad. I mean, I didn't like pause it and zoom in and you know,
Yeah,
but
break it apart.
I mean, next episode, uh, there should be probably something else, right? So
Yeah.
we'll get to see more of it, I think.
I'm curious to see what happens before we, start talking about some other thoughts about it. The one other thing that did happen I had forgotten is that Hu Yang is now all by himself, hanging out on the
Yeah.
planet. He realized that Sabine and Ahsoka are not hearing him call out, and so
Yep.
he's on his own.
And
Uh,
Balin also destroyed the map after they finished downloading the coordinates. He
right?
destroyed it with his lightsaber.
Yeah. So nobody can follow them. I, with that in mind, I kind of wondered. So we know Anakin pulled her out, which raises a couple of questions. One, is this like did Anakin know about the world between worlds back when he was with Ahsoka, like training her and stuff? Because if he did, maybe like, what other things was he doing with the world between worlds? Um, but I had kind of wondered if she's going to use the world between worlds to basically teleport to where Thrawn and Ezra are. Because if she like sees that point in time of, when they shot out to the other galaxy and she sees them, maybe that's her way to get into it, since nobody else has the map.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was kind of wondering how this next sequence is going to go. Um, it could be any number of things, right? Yeah, if Ahsoka is able to get to them through the world between worlds through some portal, that would be awesome. Um, Otherwise, I don't know how Sabine's going to get out of this. Like we don't know what kind of shape Ezra's in, how time has passed here. So I think it's been like 10 years or something, right?
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, maybe I mean Ezra presumably is like pretty capable, so maybe he can help Sabine uh, wherever they are. We like I said, we don't know what their situation is, so um, I am excited to see what happens next.
same. I mean, there's heavy rumor that she's gonna at least see, like maybe when Anakin like walks around and talks to her about different things. We know from the preview that he gives her like a monologue about, uh, I have to prepare you for all these threats, blah blah blah, that are yet to come, kind
You
of a
don't
thing.
think there's going to be like
There might. I mean, I don't know if you've heard the rumor, but there was a rumor before the show even came out that she's going to go to the world between worlds, which that checks out.
yeah.
And she's going to see the moment when Anakin is fighting Obi-Wan on Mustafar. And
Okay.
I had kind of wondered if, like, I had wondered if that Anakin wasn't the good Anakin. I had wondered if that was the bad Anakin.
I was thinking that too. He was a little bit too pure and like friendly at the end there. Like, and he would be that way to Ahsoka, but also he grew bitter over the years. So like the last
Right.
time he saw her, like he was not that chippy guy that would just but he was excited. He said, "Hey, Snips."
Yeah. Well, we also like we know that the Emperor knew about the world between worlds. So I wouldn't put it past him to tell Anakin about it. And if him as Darth Vader like went into the world between worlds and saw that his fate wasn't going to end up the way that he wanted it to, like maybe he went into this realm to try to get Ahsoka so that they could like he could tempt her and then take on Obi-Wan. But I think it's going to end up being the other way around. Like her duking it out with Vader, so to speak.
Yeah, I really just don't know anything about how Anakin is there right now. It is blowing my mind a little bit.
Same.
Um,
He's not a Force ghost.
yeah, so he either found the place himself or that's an Anakin who was also pulled through a portal, right? That's an option.
Yeah. But
Because
then who
that's
told him?
right, right. The
Who's
Emperor probably. Hey, maybe that's it. Maybe you're right. The Emperor did know about this place. He found a younger Anakin that wasn't all chopped up, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you hang out in this place? If anybody shows up, you know what to do."
Yeah. I don't know. I think the next episode, like we thought this episode is really good. I think the next one is gonna be like turning it up even more. Like this show understands solid pacing and it's just blowing our minds every time.
Yeah, every fight's crazy. Um, yeah, Ahsoka and Sabine where they hit some combo shots on that first group. They're working well together. All the lightsaber fighting is really, really good. Been great. This is great so far.
Yeah.
We're halfway. Can you believe that?
It's hard to believe. It doesn't feel like it should be, but yeah, it is.
Yeah. We got a little bit longer episodes, so that's good trend. Hopefully they keep doing that.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about one theory that I had that we hadn't talked about yet.
Yep.
It might be crazy, but it had me wondering. So I think Sarah thought I was crazy about it. So we saw when Ahsoka killed Marok that he like went into like a smoke or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's kind of this speculation that these might be like cursed beings, or maybe Morgan used some Night Sister magic to maybe create them.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, as it was specifically the Balin fight with Ahsoka that made me think this, and even this stance that Balin has. Um, his fighting technique was very much like Vader's fighting technique, and I had kind of wondered if basically the Morgan used Night Sister magic to reincarnate, like what would Anakin have become if he had won the fight, and then that's what Balin is, and then Shin is some sort of like human creation of what Ahsoka was, because she had left her Jedi life behind. Maybe this is kind of a incarnation of that. And then Marok being an Inquisitor, Vader had Inquisitors. So I kind of wondered if that's what's going on with their characters, since we really don't know their background. But sitting there watching it, I was like, I may be crazy, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, that's something. Um yeah, I guess I see where your head's at with that for sure. There's definitely something mystical going on with those three. I think you might be onto something. Like what if they all dust like that? Like what if, you know?
Yeah, because like when Shin saw it, like she was generally or genuinely concerned about it, and
Yeah,
like, uh-oh, is that gonna happen to me kind of a thing? Like, is
right.
she just like him in that way?
Yeah, like maybe they're all three like resurrected from the dead or something with some dark magic.
Yeah, that's I was kind of wondering, especially since they all seem to answer to Morgan.
Yeah,
This
but
might
then
be
again, they say that they're like being paid. So I don't know.
yeah, and also what also might debunk what I just thought about this. Hu Yang recognized Balin's lightsaber.
Yeah,
So
but
I
he could have.
don't know. Maybe that debunks it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was thinking maybe like the guy existed, but he like died, and then they,
Yeah,
reanimated his life force or something.
yeah.
Maybe Marok was just different than these two. That's also a possibility.
What if Marok was a reincarnation of Maul once again? I mean, they've done it before.
Yeah, it could have been. Could have been.
Um, that might be a little. Well, Sam Witwer is Darth Maul in the animated shows, but I also think that might be a little far fetched. The the theories can go on and on, that's for sure. So yeah, we're only halfway through, and my goodness gracious, this show is so good already. It makes me wonder, like, if all this amazingness is happening now, how can they top it in the finale?
Right. Or even like how can they keep this pace going for the next yeah, we got four more episodes. So the finale is obviously going to be a banger. The one before that's almost always a banger because they got to set up the finale. So like these next two, how are they going to keep that pace but also take it up a notch from there? Who knows?
Right. And I'll be perfectly honest, based on what we got, I'm not even mad that we didn't see Thrawn because I know we talked about that with the previous one. Like, will he
Yeah.
show up at the midway point? And uh, I actually didn't even think about him the whole episode.
I bet we start the next episode with Ron. Maybe not, but maybe. Like that's
It's
my crazy theory right now, my hot take.
it's possible. Like maybe that world between worlds again. We could use that little bit of a time jump with the world between worlds and see where. Um, I bet that does happen because like
It's
with
going to be one of two things. It'll pick up with Ahsoka or it'll pick up with Thrawn.
right. But what I was saying is like if a because earlier I had mentioned like what if Ahsoka used it to teleport to where Ezra
Where
is.
they are.
Um, I think she'll not go back to the instance where they first got there. I think she'll be like seeing it, and then she'll see that Sabine was captured, and then go during that time slot, and that'll be our jump. That's my guess.
So before the map was destroyed.
No, like she'll see that Balin and all of them made it to Thrawn, but Sabine is with them, and she's like, "Oh crap!" She was captured, and so she
Yeah,
jumps in at that moment.
right. Yeah. So hopefully Anakin's not looking for a fight here. We'll see.
Yeah, I am super curious on that. Something doesn't seem right. Like I feel like I'm supposed to believe that everything is okay, but I'm like everything is not okay. How did he know about this?
Yeah. Well, and Balin knows so much too. Like he knows everything about Sabine and Ezra and how close they were. Like, what's that about?
Yeah, makes you
This guy's
feel
got
unsettled.
yeah, he's got good intel. The heck?
Yeah. Who is this person that's giving him the intel?
Who knows?
Huh. But yeah, like you said, we'll have to wait till next week. We'll probably get some answers, but even more questions, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh
excited.
was there
Tuesday's
any
my favorite day of the week.
yeah, same here where we at 9 o'clock sitting right in front of the TV. Was there anything else you wanted to mention about this episode?
Um, I don't know. I don't think so. I think we pretty much touched on everything. Sabine's still no force powers, but I'm rooting for her. So
I'm curious to see where it goes. Like, I would kind of rather her stay a Mandalorian, just like a pure Mandalorian. But I know they talk a lot about how Star Wars is poetic and it repeats itself. And, it was either Rebels or Clone Wars, one of the two, where they talked a lot about that first Mandalorian Jedi
yep.
and maybe she's the next one, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that could be cool.
I would also very much like the other alternative where when we got the last Jedi, they were saying this thing about anybody can be a Jedi, and I would also respect it if Dave Filoni was like, everybody does have the ability if they have the talent and stuff like Ahsoka was telling her, but maybe it's just not there, and it's just not going to happen. So I would also respect it if they went that route too,
Yep.
kind of showing that, even though everybody can, it doesn't mean that everybody will.
Right. Yeah. No, I can see that too. Yeah, and then she just kind of has to like live with it. And she was good with the lightsaber. Like I think if she just trained a bit, she would be really good with it. She's already picking up a lot of slack. So
Yeah, I would agree. All right, so that was our discussion on the Ahsoka. I guess you should call it part four because they keep calling it parts. I like to call it episode four. But we got
So, what was this one called again?
that's a great question.
Oh, Fallen Jedi was the title.
I wonder what that's gonna mean then in reference,
Yeah.
because
Well, Ahsoka fell off the cliff.
yeah, literally, this is what it means.
So obviously that's it. But also, Anakin, the Jedi Order fell. Um, what else? Marok, see ya.
Yeah, he was gone. He fell. There's a lot of stuff, I suppose.
Shin got thrown against she got force thrown against a wall. She fell down.
I I want to believe that they're talking about Anakin, and that's gonna push it towards the not so good stuff. Not so
Yeah,
good as in him being dark side, not light side, like a trick.
right. Like he's gonna try to fight her. Like
Yeah,
they're gonna talk, and then he's gonna be like, "All right, anyways." Bzz.
yeah. um, and that's if that's what ends up happening, it's gonna even add on more to the
Yeah, that's a way that this show could get crazier. If
yeah,
she has to like fight Anakin, and then after that, she's like, "Oh, anyways, which one of these portals leads to Thrawn?"
yeah,
I
force.
bet that is what we're gonna get.
Yeah. If he knew about World Between Worlds, why didn't he just see that Padme was gonna die and he pulls her out of it or something? Or see that he was the problem? I don't know. That's too much.
He's blinded.
Yeah. He's blinded by that hatred. Boy, oh boy. Uh yeah, if you enjoyed this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you are notified every week when we talk about it. We got 4 more for you coming. So check those out. Drops a like if you like the video and drops a comment letting us know what your thoughts were on the episode. What are your theories? Uh, how excited are you for next week? And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
The